It's time for another episode of Hops and Hedges, where we talk everything beer and landscaping and everything in between. So crack open a cold one and let's dig in. There we go. We are now recording. With me today is Paul Gellatly from the Tattooed Gardener, or not from the, he is the Tattooed Gardener. So welcome, Paul. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks so much for coming on to the show. For those who are tuning in, I don't know if you know the Tattooed Gardener or not, but he is very easy to find on Instagram. You definitely want to check him and his stuff out because he is one of the coolest people that I happen to know. So thank you so much again, Paul.
No problem.
So you are in Etobicoke, and
I'm in Etobicoke.
so you've been known as the Tattooed Gardener for a lot longer than it's been a business, official
Correct.
business, right?
Correct. Yes.
So Tattooed Gardener, how did that come about?
It was one of those, I went to school with some people in high school that used to make fun of me for being the plant guy. And they all grew up and got houses and started asking me a bunch of questions. And they said, "Are you still the plant guy? Can I ask you some questions?"
Yep.
And a lot of the questions were the same. So I would just say, "Would you mind just posting it once on my page? I can answer it once and then everybody can see it. And hopefully I'll be able to sort of alleviate the amount of questions that I have to answer."
Yeah.
And they were all, of course, fine with that. And that was 10 years ago. And now 35 million people a month are seeing my posts.
Like, that's
It's
crazy.
I know.
35 million people see your posts.
A month.
Like, I just can't fathom that.
It's
So,
crazy. It's just because it was never meant to be that, right? Like, it wasn't something I was setting up to do. It just happened. So I've
yeah.
always been the plant guy. So
And something you said too, right, is that passion is contagious.
it 100% is.
So it's like
Thank
people
God.
know you as the Tattooed Gardener, and so the branding is on point.
It's on point. It took me some time, but it worked.
Yeah,
and I was the first one. There's a bunch of people now using the same moniker, which, but
oh,
I'm the OG.
The original one. Yeah. It's funny. I'm a tattooed gardener as well, but you never see my tattoos because they're all like above my shoulder. So
yeah.
So I imagine you have some plant tattoos.
I have a few. My tattoos are art. So I went to my artist and said, "I want an Asian inspired arm and I want a traditional inspired arm. Have fun." And that's basically, I had no idea what I was getting when I was getting them. And she just went to town, and I feel like they're an artist. Let them do their art.
Oh, I love that.
And I loved her art. So it wasn't something I picked off of a wall. It wasn't something that's going to ever be on a wall.
Yep.
It's on me. So.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
So I recently saw you at, or most recently saw you at the Landscape Ontario Congress, because you were a speaker, not just for the regular seminars, but you were one of the speakers as well for the design conference, the designers conference.
Yeah.
And that topic, I believe, was that the shade gardening one?
That was
small
the shade
spaces.
Yeah, shade gardening, and then small spaces was the regular Congress.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I have so many things that I want to ask you about. I already know I'm going to have to bring you back for a part 2 because there's no way I'm going to ask you all the things that I want to ask you. But again, for those who don't know you, right? So before the Tattooed Gardener was your business.
Yep.
You have an amazing line of work and jobs. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I've never taken a horse. I've never taken a horse. I've never taken
a horse either. Perfect. There's something else we have in common.
Right?
Crazy.
I've never taken a course in horticulture. So it was one of those, I was an employment counselor for 10 years. And I went in one day and I just wasn't happy doing what I was doing anymore. Mm-hmm. And it was time for something different. And I'd always been afraid to go into horticulture. It was always one of those things that was an escape for me. It was my way to get out of reality. And I wasn't sure if I had to do it every day, if I would lose that passion and that drive for it. Thank God that wasn't the case. I don't know what I would do if that was the case. So I started part-time at Plant World at a garden center, and it went up from there. I kept applying for positions that I had no right applying for. City of Toronto, I became a gardener within a couple of years, and then went to the zoo and managed the plant collection at the zoo, which is one of Canada's largest tropical plant collections, which is super cool. And then I went on to Toronto Botanical Garden and was director of horticulture there. And now I'm the CEO of the Tattooed Gardener Inc.,
Yeah,
which
so
is
no big
my
deal.
business.
You
No,
know,
no big deal.
yeah,
No big deal. It's interesting. I mean, it was a hugely quick trajectory as far as a career goes,
yeah,
but I've been doing it my whole life. So
right.
it didn't feel like a quick trajectory. It was just, these are stepping stones. I never went into them thinking I'm only going to be here for a year.
Yeah,
I just kept my eyes open. And I think that was partly the employment counselor. I'm always kind of
right.
seeing what's out there and who's got what open and who's filling what. And
Hmm.
it's a small industry. You know, we all kind of know each other. So it's neat to see when I know somebody who gets hired on to a botanical garden or onto something else. It's neat to see their trajectories, because everyone's path in horticulture is different.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that I love. You know, there's no one way to do it. You
No,
can
and
get,
there's so many things to learn. Like every day is different.
I'm still
Every
learning.
day,
I'm still learning. I've been
who
doing this for
knows?
over 30 years, right? Like, and it's an
Yeah.
everyday thing. I got schooled by a 5-year-old at the zoo on carnivorous plants, right? Like, but you
Huh.
have to be open to that. You have to
Yeah.
be, no, that's with the kid. No, that was a 5-year-old who knew a heck of a lot about carnivorous plants. And I
That's
listened to
so
every single
cool.
thing he told me.
Man, that's cool.
It's super cool.
So before I get into all of the different services and things that you do
Ooh,
as the tattooed gardener, big question
yeah,
is, what are you drinking?
I am drinking the Botanist gin. I'm not a beer drinker, but the Botanist, it just makes sense for me. And they have all the Latin names of all the plants that are in here on the bottle. It's a fantastic bottle, and it's really good. So I just
Nice.
have gin and water. That's all I'm doing. I'm not a big
Yeah,
drinker.
I'm a
So
gin and usually I'm gin and like soda water or gin and
gin and soda
Perrier.
water, gin and yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge drinker, but yeah, for this, I'll have a drink.
thanks. No pressure. There's no pressure to
Cheers,
drink on the podcast.
cheers.
So cheers. Cheers to you. So I'm drinking actually brand new beer for me.
Oh,
I actually went out and picked it up today because it
just for this.
was recently released from one of the
Oh,
local breweries here in London.
yep.
So it's called Tropicana, and it's oranges and nectarines, which I
Oh, I
don't
might
really
like that.
associate
Does
with
it taste like
Canada.
beer though? Does it taste like beer?
It is an IPA. So
Ah,
it's not like a really
not super.
like some of
Not.
those fruity beers, like strawberry beers, is gross. This is definitely a hoppy IPA. So it does taste like beer. You won't like it.
I'm. You know, I can have a beer when it's
Mm-hmm.
really hot, and
Yep.
it's usually Corona. I usually do the Corona and the lime,
Yep.
um, and but it has to be hot, and the
So
beer has to be really cold.
right. So speaking of Corona, this is maybe something else I should do on another episode. But one of my I call it my gateway beer.
Yep.
So I
Oh,
went to a pub and they didn't have any wine, and I think they had a couple of I don't know, nothing that I wanted. It was all beer. I said, "Well, what do you offer people who don't like beer?" And they're like, "Well, do you like coconut rum?" And I said, "Yes." So you take a Corona and you add a shot of coconut rum.
ooh, no, I've
You're
never tried that.
welcome.
Oh
Game
no, that's not a good
changer.
thing. I have a story with Corona too. I went on a date for the first time, and
Yep.
we went to Red Lobster, and we got a bucket of 4 Coronas for the two of us. And
Yep.
I had always seen people put the lime in and turn the bottle upside down, and I
Yep.
thought, well, that's easy to do, right?
Yeah.
So I did it, and I sprayed like the entire restaurant with beer
Excellent.
on a first date.
Yep.
Every table around us got soaked with my Corona.
Perfect. So how did the date go? Did it lead to a
It,
second date or that was a no?
yes, it did. It did. It did. Yeah, I
So it
think
could
it's
have
how
been,
you
it was
handle
worth
it.
it.
It's the recovery.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Total segue because I've had a first date where I bit into this just reminded me, right? ADHD brain. So again, first date, and I bit into we were at an Asian restaurant. I bit into a dumpling and I squirted the waitress. Like full out, like paintball trajectory. It was
Fun,
awful. That
fun.
led to a couple more dates. That's not the person I
See?
ended up marrying,
Well,
but you know what?
yeah.
It was a good memory.
It
Wow, totally random.
made it on the podcast. It
I
made it on
love
the
it.
podcast.
Yeah, so that waitress maybe is listening to this going, "Oh yeah, I remember her." So
I'm sure it's
random.
happened more than once.
Uh, so as the tattooed gardener, you mentioned a little bit about the speaking that you do, but what sort of services, like what is the tattooed gardener?
It's constantly evolving.
Yep.
I'm basically garden coaching is one of the things that I've really enjoyed doing. I've discovered that there's a lot of people that live in condos downtown that are now having kids and they're moving to the suburbs, where
Yep.
for the first time in their life, they have a property and a backyard and a garden.
Mm-hmm.
And they have no idea how to do it.
Right. And
And
they want to. Like
they
people
want to,
really
oh, they
do. They
absolutely
want to
want to.
learn and
That's part of what they wanted to move out there for.
mm-hmm.
So I'm actually doing coaching with entire families where the family will come out and I'm teaching the kids how to garden and I'm teaching the parents how to garden in their own garden. And I'm
Yep.
sort of talking about the tools that they use and how to use them and when's the right time to do it. And it's rewarding. It's sort of the only job that if I do my job right, they don't need me anymore.
Right.
Um, which is totally fine. I enjoy connecting people with the garden. I think it's been such an important part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
It's saved me many times in many ways. And to be able to pass that on to someone who knows where that will lead. You know, who knows if that kid is going to love gardening so much they become someone like me, but better down the road.
Yeah.
Uh, Horticulture is one of those things. It's not a competition, and
No.
that's one of the reasons I love the industry is that everyone can do their own thing and everyone has room for everybody else. Um, I love it. I love seeing what you connect with in
Right.
horticulture. And what was your hook plant? Because we all have a hook plant. We all have that one plant that hooked us,
Yep.
um, and then how it snowballs from there. So
Yep.
it's I love that, and it's different for
Mm-hmm.
everyone.
I love how you said how gardening has saved you in many ways. Because I
Oh,
think a lot of us can connect with that simple phrase that,
yeah. I would
it's
not be
not
here.
just the
I'm
physical
100%
activity.
sure I wouldn't be here. No,
Yep.
no, it's everything. It's mental health. It's getting out of your brain. It's
Mm-hmm.
finding yourself when you need to lose yourself,
Yeah.
and vice versa. Um, it's gotten me to some tough spots. And
Yeah.
when I lost my garden, when the landlord sold the house, that was really difficult. That was a part for me that I'm still struggling with, is that I don't have that outlet anymore. I
Yeah.
used to start every day in the garden and I used to end every day in the garden. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just my constant. It was something that was there that I had built with my own hands, that I had put together, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's positive and negative. When you rent a house, you always know that's a possibility.
Yep.
And I had been there 10 years. I got 10 years out of that property.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the complete garden. When I got there wasn't anything. And when I left, there
Mm-hmm.
wasn't anything. So it was kind of neat to see a garden to a full fruition. There wasn't someone there who was going to let it get run down. There
Yeah.
wasn't someone who was going to take all my specimen plants that I loved and ignore them.
Right.
So there was some positives to that. And being on Visionary Gardeners at the tail end of that was really interesting. They came to film me for this television show that I
Mm-hmm.
really wish would come the year before, because my garden was way better the year before.
Yeah.
He got me while I was deconstructing it, right? But that
Right.
was part of what that story was, and where do
Mm-hmm.
I go from there, right? And
And
where
so
do I?
how long, so I feel kind of connected to that garden as well, which is interesting because I've never physically been there, but
Yeah,
I've seen your presentation, Big Ideas for Small Spaces, I think twice
yeah,
now. And
yeah.
both times I get something new out of it.
Uh-huh.
And you really go through the whole process of that garden. So how many years was that from when
Uh,
you started the garden to when you had to leave?
9 years.
9 years. I cannot believe the amount of stuff that,
I put a lot of stuff in there.
yeah,
I don't say no to myself very well.
right.
Completely honest. If I see a plant and I want it, I buy it.
Yep.
I learned very early on that plant envy is terrible, and that if you go home to think about it, someone else is going to buy it while you're home thinking about it, and then you're going to
Yep.
regret it. So if I see it and I want it, I buy it and I figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
In all honesty, my garden was full, so there
Oh
wasn't a
yeah.
whole lot more I was going to be able to do with it. So it almost had run its course in some
Mm-hmm.
ways. I did auction off everything from my garden,
Yep.
so I was able to make a lot of other people happy because they have
Mm-hmm.
pieces of the Tattooed Gardener's Garden in their
Yeah.
garden. And there's something calming and peaceful about that too. Is that all of the hours, the searching, and that's what it is. It's the thrill of the hunt, right? Like when
Yeah.
you're a plant collector, it's not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily having it; it's finding it and finding that one, right? The
Oh
one that
yeah.
through and you've nope, that's not the right one, and pick through the whole tray and you look at every single one to get that. So it gives me a little bit of peace knowing that all of those hours are still being appreciated.
Yeah. That's a
Just not
really
like
good way to put it.
just not all together.
And so now you're in a condo.
I am in my little box in the sky, and I absolutely hate it.
Right.
I don't hate it. I'm just not a condo person.
Yep.
But in all honesty, that's the reality for so many people
Mm-hmm.
in big cities, Toronto,
Yep.
Vancouver, Montreal. It's you're in condos, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us aren't going to be able to realize home ownership. So
Right.
our connection with the garden is completely different
Oof.
than it would be if you could walk out your back door. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that becomes a tropical collection.
Yep.
And the good thing is that tropicals do really well in little glass boxes in the sky.
Right.
When your whole wall is glass, your plants do really well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I took the opportunity to come here as a connection to the people that live this reality.
Right.
And they're not ever going to relate to a rose garden. They can appreciate it, but they're not going to
Yep.
relate to it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I think, terraces and terrace design and balcony design is huge. And
Yep.
no one's really tapping into it yet. Nobody's really saying, this is what I'm focusing on.
Yeah, I was going
And
to mention that because I mean, you have some really great pictures of stuff that you've designed, that you've helped install, that you
yeah,
help to maintain these the gardens in the sky,
yeah,
right? And there's so much potential there.
there's huge potential. And it's most people that are in a condo, it's a small space. So
Yep.
they want it to look good. And a lot of them are going and buying flowers for full sun on the north side of the building. They're not going to do well.
Right.
There's opportunity, and I think the Tattooed Gardener is going to sort of delve into that a little bit more this year.
Mm-hmm.
Is planters for depending on what side you live on. So if you
Yep.
live on the west side, here's a planter that's going to work for you with all the plants that are going to grow. It takes the guesswork out. And then
Yep.
here's all the ones for the south side, all the north side, all the east side, and have specific planters that they can choose between, and then go flip them out in the summer.
And then depending on where the terrace is too and how high up it is, so not just the direction, but how high it is,
Wind,
and there could be wind tunnels,
big time, big time.
right?
I'm
That's
on the second floor
something,
of those wind tunnels. Like it's
wow.
crazy because the buildings create wind tunnels. They
Hmm.
put them so close together that the wind has nowhere to go but in between the buildings. So, and then you have other buildings to contend with. They're the
Yeah.
ones creating shade now. Even if you're south facing, you're still in the shade.
Yeah. If
So
there's another
there's
building right
right
there, then
right. So I mean, I have 17 Japanese maples on my balcony right now, and I face south and east.
right.
Um, that technically should be perfect on the east side,
Hmm.
uh, but I'm fine on the south side. It doesn't get hot
Okay.
enough because of the building behind me.
Nice.
So it's, there's the consulting. Back to what I do is this coaching, consulting, and then maintenance. I'm going in and doing some fairly high end garden maintenance. And
Yep.
people are spending a lot of money to get gardens installed and to have a landscape architect or landscape designer design something for them. And then
Yeah.
those people walk away
Right.
and they aren't really giving them care or how to take care of it or who to call or what happens. They're
Yeah.
literally leaving them. And I've stepped into some gardens that were absolutely stunning, and
Hmm.
they spent probably $100,000 to install them, and they were like, I don't even know what I have. I don't know how to take
Right.
care of it. I don't know what I spent a lot of money, and I want to
Hmm.
make sure it stays looking good. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Sure. you know but I'm going in and telling people on the first visit that they need to replace all their boxwoods that they just installed last year,
Hmm.
because landscape designers are still using boxwoods, which is driving me insane. Because you shouldn't be. Like, there's an invasive moth, it's eating all of them, they all look like crap, it's only a matter of
Yep.
time. And I literally replaced 90 boxwoods at one client's house
Oh
that
my
were just
goodness.
put in last year, so how much they spent on them.
Yeah.
And I just said, it's a constant battle, right? Like, if you want to spray chemicals, which I don't, because I don't do
Nope.
chemicals, it's not the right plant anymore.
Hmm.
Maybe those moths will move on and move north and whatever, but for now, not the right plant to be using. So please don't use boxwoods, everyone.
Yeah. No, I am right there with you as a designer because one of the things I think I reasons I started the business is that I saw this big kind of gap in education,
Yep.
that designers and
Huge.
architects, they come in,
Huge.
they design, they charge all this money for a plan, for the maybe even for the installation, but then they leave without a future plan. Like, what's the
Follow up.
game plan?
Well, and then your design ends up looking like crap
Yeah.
because no one's maintained it properly. And that ends
Right.
up reflecting poorly on you. So, and that has nothing to do with you. It has to do with what comes after you.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting that there is, you're absolutely right, a gap
Hmm.
in between that and the education of education or connection with someone who will take care of it,
Right.
their garden, and if they're spending that money, I'm sorry, it's not cheap.
No, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, right? So
Yeah.
you want to protect that investment. So that's how I've sort of spun it as well, is just, I can come in once a month. I can come in
Hmm.
once, I can come in seasonally. I found a lot of my clients are older and
Yep.
they've had beautiful gardens, and you can tell. You can walk into a garden and at
They've
one point
cared for it.
it was
Yeah.
stunning, but it got
Hmm.
away.
Yep.
It got to be one of those things where the tasks when they looked outside were too much, and then they stopped going to the garden because all they saw were jobs.
Yeah.
So I'm now going into these people's houses who were gardeners, and I'm getting that garden back for them. And I'm
Yeah.
saying, can you make me a list of the things you can't do or
Yep.
you don't like to do?
Hmm.
Because you can still deadhead. You can still pick things out. You can still, you're still a gardener. You
Hmm.
just can't do it all.
Yep.
So I'll get a list there and I'll split the hostas. Well, yeah, a 90-year-old's not going to dig up a clump of hostas and split it. It's not going to happen. It still needs to be done, but
Yep.
it's not going to happen. So that's worked out really well, is that these clients are getting to be back in their gardens again.
Hmm.
And there's something really that warms my heart about that. A lot of these people are downsizing the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So these are the last few years that they're going to have in those gardens. And I would hate to see those last few years not enjoyed to the fullest when they've spent
Right.
50 years there or 40 years there.
Hmm.
Right. And it's just, I could look out a window and go, yeah, I see that needs to be done. That needs to be done. That needs to be done.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, that would really bother me if I had to look at that year in and year out and have nothing done with it. It would drive me
Hmm.
nuts. It would.
I love
It would.
that when you meet a client and because they've been looking after it, they know what is a hosta and they know their Rose of Sharon or whichever, right? And so they can. I have one client particularly here in London who same thing, a massive garden. And
Yep.
she knows exactly what she wants done, but she knows that she cannot do it. And she does the
Yep.
same thing. She lists them out. She's like, I would like this split, and I want
Yes.
one piece over there. I want another
Yep.
piece put into a pot because I'm giving it to my sister. Excellent. We
Yeah,
can do
my
that.
daughter or whatever. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think that's really neat. Like it's
Hmm.
not necessarily our garden. We're going in there and helping them with theirs, but there's
Yeah.
something totally rewarding about that
I
when you
love
look at
it.
the bigger picture.
So two more things
Yeah,
well, I mean, so many things I want to talk to you about, but so you and I, we're both horticultural speakers and presenters,
correct.
right? So we travel. I mean, I've traveled Ontario. I think you've gone further.
I
Where's
have
the farthest you've gone?
gone, like actually physically gone, or because
Physically
I
gone
do
to
Zoom
present?
stuff. Not actually that far.
No? Okay,
No,
then virtually.
I've sort of done I mean, up to like Barrie and Muskoka and Prince
Yep.
Edward County, and I mean, I'm driving a couple hours to
Yep.
talk sometimes. On Zoom, though, I've been talking in BC, I've been talking in Nova Scotia, I've been talking in Quebec. I did over 50 talks last year, and I'm booked for
That's awesome.
35 so far this year.
Oh, that's
So
great.
it's been wonderful. I mean, that
Yep.
tends to be my downtime.
Hmm.
Um, and it's neat to connect with people. I mean,
Hmm.
at the end of the day, that's why I do this, is
Yeah.
to connect with people. And if I didn't, I don't think I would enjoy it nearly as much.
Right. It's something I really like too, just to sort of, if we can spark some intrigue and some excitement about gardens and horticulture,
Yeah,
even in one person, a talk is so worth it.
because you don't know where that's going to go.
Right.
Right. And that's my thing. Like there's nights I get 200 questions sent
Yep.
to the Gardener platform. I answer every single one
Yeah.
because it may take me a little bit of time, but I always do. Someone took the time with me. I never
Yep.
took a course. I never took a course in horticulture, which means everything I've learned, somebody taught me along
Right.
the way. Somebody told me something. Somebody told me to read this book, or somebody told me to, go to this garden and check it out.
Yeah.
And if they hadn't done that, I wouldn't be where I am. So
Huh.
I take that very, very seriously. And I, in some ways, it's almost the Indigenous connection where they, I love Indigenous elders and their knowledge and their respect for nature and plants. That's gotten passed down from generation to generation to generation. It's
Hmm.
exactly the same in the garden. What 89-year-old Betty used to teach me up the road was what her mother taught her, which
Yeah.
is what her grandmother taught her mother. It's the same thing. It's information that's being passed from generation to generation, and we're the keepers of those at this point in time.
Right.
And if we don't pass that along, it
Hmm.
stops with us, and I don't think it should. I don't think that what all these people have given us is
Yeah.
a gift of the garden, that we shouldn't be sharing that. I think we absolutely should. And I
Yeah. It
think
shouldn't end
that's
with
why
us.
it absolutely should not. And we can write books, sure, we can do speaking things, sure, but it's the one-on-ones that
Mm-hmm.
mean something. It's those conversations in a garden, walking through with somebody, where they tell you about their grandmother, or where they
Yeah.
tell you about a plant that they remember from when they were a kid. Those are the things that become the important things. Anyone can read, but
Right.
not everyone can get a story. Not everyone can get a story.
I
And
always think that's
those are the plants
so
I love.
not just rewarding, but humbling when you get invited into somebody's garden or their patio or their terrace and
Yep.
they're telling you about it and they're telling you these stories about these plants and how long they've been there. And there's something really intimate and trusting. Like they are really
It's a
being
piece of
vulnerable
their
with us to
it's a
show them.
piece of their identity. It's a piece of who they are.
Yeah. And
And it's
I
a
always
very
feel so
private piece.
honored to
So do I.
be accepted and welcomed and shown into such a private place,
Well, I
right?
mean, I remember being 13 years old and
Yeah.
peeking over neighbors' fences, right? And they would say, "Come on over, come and see the garden."
Yeah.
And that's where, again, where I learned was, Betty up the street, or you know whoever it was welcoming me to their garden and talking to me about it. And they had
Man.
many more years experience than I had, right?
Hmm.
And Betty said she was 89 at least. So she's got to no longer be with us. I don't know that for sure, but
Yeah.
she always used to say, "Paul, I've been gardening for 70 years, way longer than you've been alive."
Hmm.
And she said, "And I still don't have it right." She
Yep.
said, "I still put tall things in front of short things. I still have two things beside each other that don't work. I have two colors that clash. I have a spot in the garden where nothing's flowering. I still didn't get it right." She said, "That's what I love about gardening."
It's about the
And
journey.
that has kept me, literally, that's been my compass, is that it's never done.
Right.
It's a journey. It's not a destination.
Yeah.
And it was hard speaking to the landscape designers because it's different for a landscape designer. For them, or for you, or for me, when I'm doing my design, when I have that hat on, it is a destination. It is,
Right.
here's the plan, this is what you're going to do, and then I'm going to walk away and you have your garden. But that's not,
Hmm. Yeah.
that's
Things
not
change. They
well,
grow.
absolutely they do, or they
Right.
die, or they don't
Yep.
do well, or they do better than you expected. There's always something happening in a garden that makes it change.
I
But
sometimes talk about a design as the first evolution.
which is
It's like
fantastic.
it's like, okay, so this is your final design, but it's really just the first evolution of your garden. Things aren't going to make it. Things are going to get eaten. Things are going to
And
get
you're going to fall in love with
diseased.
something else down the road.
Yep, you're going to bring something home from the greenhouse because it was in bloom and you just got to find a spot for it. And
Yeah.
that's gardening,
And
right?
that's gardening. And 100%.
Yeah.
I used to tell my plants to take a deep breath in, and then I
Yeah.
would shove in plants when they weren't looking. Like swear to God, I was jamming stuff in there so tight,
Yeah.
but it worked, right? I had
Mm-hmm.
very few weeds. I never mulched. I rarely watered because
Yeah.
there was no room. There was no room for weeds in there. There was barely room for the plants I had.
Yeah.
But it worked, right? It kept the work down for me when I
Mm-hmm.
was doing other things, and I could still appreciate it and enjoy it and do my daylily hybridizing and do all that fun stuff that took time because I
Yeah.
wasn't focused on having to weed and having to do all that other stuff.
So that's actually something else I wanted to ask you about. So the hybridizing.
Mhm.
Can you explain to myself and people who are listening, number one, what is, because you hybridize by hand,
Correct. I
right?
put on a little
So,
bee outfit. I look really cute in the bee
oh my
outfit.
gosh, you said that and I totally imagined it and it brought me so much joy. So thank you, Paul, for that. If anybody else out there is a visual personality like myself, you can pass along your thanks to Paul via Instagram on the Tattooed Gardener. See him in his little bee outfit, hybridizing his daylilies.
Racing around the garden.
So in your bee outfit,
Mhm.
when you're hybridizing daylilies, what is it that you do exactly? How do you do it?
So I'm taking pollen off of one and I'm putting it on the stamen of the other, and
Mm-hmm.
that's literally it.
And
And then
then,
I'm labeling it and growing out the seeds and storing the seeds and then growing them out the next year. What I like about daylilies is that it's a fairly short turnaround. So it's only 2 years from seed to flower. So
huh?
it's not like amaryllis where you're waiting 10 years. So if you're going to try and hybridize something that you're going to get to see within 10 years, because you're going to grow tired of it by then, and then you're not going to want to see it.
Right,
Every seed in the pod is different. And that's
right.
what I love about daylilies. It's everyone holds unique DNA. So you can have the exact same cross, two seeds that came from the exact same pod, and they can have totally different colored flowers, totally different
Huh.
shape, because they're pulling an aspect, a recessive trait or not, from a grandparent or a great grandparent all the way up. And
Hmm.
it's like humans, right? There's a kabillion people we kind of look like, but normally siblings will have similarities. like humans, where
Right.
sisters will look similar but have their own unique characteristics.
So it is
Um,
seeds and then you're planting them
mhm.
like
The
inside in
only
trades and then
yeah,
like
yeah, I,
monitoring them?
yeah, and then I line them all out outside in summer, and um, it's I've probably grown 5,000 seedlings. I've registered 86 now. I just submitted one this morning, which is a lot considering that my garden was
Yeah.
tiny. All of that came from my garden. But it's a lot of hours, right? Your daylilies only last one day. So you're out
Right.
there in the morning because you want to get out there before the bees. So you're
Yep.
out there first thing. Um, you're, dabbing pollen, you're labeling things, you're growing them out. I've sold some seeds, which I don't do anymore because when people you sold seeds to send you pictures of the amazing daylily that they got from your seed, and you're like, shit, I sold the wrong seed. I should have kept that one because none of mine looked that good.
Yep.
Yeah, so it becomes one of those moments, but it's rewarding. You get to
Mm-hmm.
see your baby, your crosses. It's part madness, part genius, part knowledge, part luck, right? Like it's you never really know what you're going to get. You get better
Yeah.
at it. um I don't do some crosses now because I just know it's not going to give me anything I want.
Right.
So then I don't even keep the parents. If I'm not using them, let them go to another garden where they can be appreciated and
Yep.
loved, but it's not mine. You can't keep them all.
You
That's one thing
can't.
I've learned in the garden. You cannot keep them all. I have 800 houseplants. You cannot keep them all.
Nope.
It's you got to pick the best
Yeah.
ones. And when
I
you're
actually
registered, you only want the best.
um I'm trying to think because I'm pretty sure the tags had wiped off. And I'm not sure if you remember or not, but I actually have three of your daylilies in my garden.
Do you?
I
I
do.
didn't remember that.
Yeah, I remember you having the sale
Yeah. Oh,
online
did you
because
get
you
the
were
babysitting ones?
minimizing, and I've got three miniatures. Yeah,
Oh, minis. Yeah, 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 yeah. I love the
yeah,
minis.
they're really really cute. I
Have you
can't
crossed
think
them
of
yet?
what they're. Was that?
Have you crossed them yet?
Uh,
You need to get the outfit on and go out
no.
there and cross them.
I totally should and could.
You totally should. This year you
I
will. I'm
have
going to
the
call you
worst
and be
garden
like,
on my
"Go out there."
street. It's yeah,
How
it's
can
a
you have the
thing.
worst? That is like the hairdresser with a mullet. It just shouldn't be.
Yeah,
I'm going to come
it's
down there this summer and we're going to fix that.
oh my gosh, I'd be so embarrassed. Everybody I know doesn't come over. We actually had a pre-COVID, we had a welcome to the jungle party because our
Yep.
place was so bad that I was not going to clean it up to have people over. So we mowed like a square in the lawn
That's fun.
and left all the weeds in all the wilderness and we had a
It's
welcome to the
natural.
jungle party.
It's a natural
Yeah.
garden.
That's what I say. It's very
Natives are
naturalized.
important. Natives are very important.
I'm not sure what's native and what's not out there. It's a disaster. Not proud. So we've got about 5.5 minutes left,
Amazing.
and I'm gonna put you on the spot because I
Oh,
believe in
yes.
you.
Yep.
So people who do know you know that you love Japanese maples. You have
I do.
17 on your own
I
balcony, you
do.
said, and at
I have
your
37 in my garden.
you had 37 in your previous garden.
Yep.
Daylilies, of course, rare and
Of
unusuals,
course.
and you like your variegated stuff.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Variegated everything.
So not including those,
Yep.
what's a plant that comes to mind? Garden plant.
Um, I'm all about foliage. Big
Yep.
leaves, big flowers. Love anything big, giant.
Yep.
I have the Amorphophallus titanium. Where's the thing?
Oh,
Tattoo
yep.
from Pablo. I would say any of the Erasemas,
Yep.
Arums, any of
Hmm.
those, I'm a big fan of. And the oddballs. I
Right.
like anything that is not what you would expect it to be.
Hmm.
That's sort of if there's a peony that looks like a rose, I'm into it. If there's
Right.
anything that's sort of not what you would expect, um, and hepaticas, the Japanese hepaticas that are out there are just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Um, and people can collect them. And I think gardeners now are doing collections,
Yep.
and I love that. I
Hmm.
absolutely love that. Whether it's peonies, whether it's daylilies, whether it's hostas, whether it's you know daisies, whatever it is, people are collecting things.
Yep.
And Japanese hepaticas are a really good one to collect.
It's Hepatica is definitely one that is underutilized in
Oh,
the garden, I think. Like it's
hands
such a
down.
great
Oh,
color.
sure it is. And it's a good native, right? Like it's small,
Yeah.
it's got fantastic foliage, it's got
Super low
beautiful
maintenance. You don't have
flowers,
to baby
super
it.
low maintenance, it's different, it's odd. And there's variations within the plant, and I love that.
Hmm.
If there's a plant that you never know what you're going to get,
Right.
There's daylilies that have 2 different colored blooms on the same day on the same plant.
So
I
cool.
love that. There's color changers that start the day out red and end the day out silver on the same day. I love that. Right? Like anything that's sort of out of the ordinary. With the daylily hybridizing, I'm trying to create one that either gets stripes throughout the day or loses its stripes throughout the day.
That's
So
cool.
that, yeah, and it's just locking the DNA onto that component of that flower. And I'm getting pretty close. I'm working with a lot of the color changers now, and I'm getting pretty close.
Okay.
Yeah.
A couple more questions to
Yeah.
wrap us up here. So when it comes to houseplants, you have 80 houseplants or
I do.
800? How many did you say?
800.
800, sorry. Oh, and so is this your favorite one?
I would say this is definitely one of them.
Is that a Swiss cheese?
No, this is a. How dare you? No, I'm just
Sorry,
kidding.
don't judge me. I'm learning.
Oblique. This is an oblique. So this is the cooler cousin to the Swiss cheese plant.
I have a Swiss cheese. He's feeling very sensitive right now.
Yeah, the fenestrations on this are much
way bigger.
Way bigger.
Yeah.
And there's tiny pieces of tissue that hold it together. Plant adaptations fascinate me, and we should do a day where we just talk about that, because
awesome.
I think it's super cool when plants do things for themselves to keep themselves going. Yep. The fenestrations on these, do you know why they have fenestrations?
To allow wind to go through, right? So it doesn't rip and
wind. Yes, you got that absolutely right. They grow up the trunk of a tree,
and
they root along the way while they go. This allows water when it rains to actually water their roots. If the leaves were solid, they would run off and they would not get any water.
Smart.
The third thing is that when a bug sees this, it thinks it's already been eaten. So it goes to another plant that's not all shred up. So bugs leave it alone.
Right.
So there's 3 adaptations with this that I think are fascinating. And depending on the locale, the fenestrations are different.
Right. And those leaves can get massive.
These ones
like with age.
The Esquilitos do, though. Yeah, there are some that do for sure. These ones, that's about, a little bit bigger than that, but that's pretty much what you're looking at for that one.
Okay.
Culture's destroyed the industry, so it's one of those things where everybody has them now. That was my wish list plant for about 15 years. I could not find it anywhere.
Right.
And now you can buy them for $20.
Okay. Man, so much. We definitely need to do a part 2.
Mind blown.
We've got 1 minute left. We're going to get kicked off, but one book that you'd recommend for any. Hi, Bubby. What's his name? Sorry again.
Lola.
Yes. Okay. One book.
I would say, you know what? Anything by Marjorie Harris. I'm a huge fan. She's an incredible resource. And I would also say Mark Cullen. You know, you look at these sort of industry pinnacle people, they've been through it, and they wrote these books for this area many times over.
Okay. Marjorie Harris and Mark Cullen.
Mark Cullen, Marjorie Harris. Go for it. The Durs book that was mentioned on your last podcast.
Yep.
Incredible. I have it. Love it. Right.
Excellent.
Like,
I'm going to cut you off because I'm going to wrap us up. But Paul, thank you so much. It has been super exciting. Cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers, and
we will absolutely do this again.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Paul.
Take care.
That concludes this week's episode. Tune in every Wednesday for someone new and some new brew. Don't forget to click the follow button to stay in touch. See you next time.